How did that make you feel? Because as a viewer, it made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I it's very dismissive.
So, what was it like confronting her ex fiance turned frat boy on the worldwide stage? And when was the moment that she realized this might not be looking good? Hey, everyone, welcome back to Ashley BTV. On today's episode of Behind the Headlines, we are talking to Love is Blind Season 9 cast member Madison Maidenberg, and she's taking us through the whole process of what it was like to date in the pods, who we might have missed in the pods, and of course, the aftermath, including the reunion. She is in Denver right now, and is she currently single and ready to mingle, or has someone stolen her heart? We're gonna get into all that, but before we do, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and show your support for Madison in the comments. Madison, you are stunning, and by the way, coming on the reunion, I was like, this girl is slaying this look.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so funny. People have been like, "Wow, she had work done. Wow, she this, that." I'm like, "No, babe, just a little glow up. No crusty, dusty man holding me back."
I was gonna say that was not my thought at all. I was just like, wow, does she have a stylist? Like, and that is a big question, because I know the anticipation of a year and a half before, being in the pods, going through the experience, that's a long runway to get to the reunion. Are you guys working with stylists, like therapists, mentally? Like, what's going on between that time?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It is a very long time, lots of anticipation. Let's see, what do I have going on? No stylist. I just leveled up. Learned how to contour my face a little better and, dress a little better and, I'm not constantly stressed every day, so that helps.
I
And
just
yes,
meant the reunion itself, because everyone's looks looked great. You guys looked great as soon as we saw you in the pods, by the way. I
oh,
just
thank
meant, like, your
you.
glamorous, dresses. Was that just all you guys on your own?
Yeah, that was all us. Like, I hadn't seen all but 2 or yeah, I only saw 2 dresses that were gonna be on the reunion plus my own. So, it's not like
Okay.
we coordinated or anything. It was literally just I did my own research, found what I really wanted. I do have a really great therapist, so to go back to that, I definitely
Confirmed.
credit a lot of my glow up to that, but
Ugh,
yeah.
I know mental is must be such a big part of this journey. I couldn't even imagine. I did it for you. I rewatched your
Yeah.
scenes just now
Uh,
of the reunion, and I wanna ask, because I felt like during the reunion, you were a girl's girl, and you said what every girl would have wanted you to say in so many of those moments. Have you been able to watch the reunion?
I have watched the reunion.
Okay.
Funny enough, I've not watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
I've only watched really, like, my parts just because I had to
Mhm.
be prepared for, press and stuff like that, but,
Yeah.
yes, I totally agree. I really commend myself on being a girl's girl. That's something that I
Mhm.
take a lot of pride in. I think today there's so much, with the war on women in general, that it's like
Mhm.
we need more women just supporting women in general, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that you saw that.
I could tell from even watching the reunion, who was there. I think it was Kate who said, was he there for marriage or was he there for an audience, when she was talking about Nick? And I felt the same way watching Joe. And I'm not trying to put Joe down, but
Yeah.
I felt like watching this reunion, you could tell, you, for instance, came off just so genuine. Tell me what it was like taking the stage of the reunion and having to confront a lot of things that you probably hadn't gotten a chance to truly confront.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty intense. I mean, I watched my breakup the night before, so I'd watched the finale.
Oh,
I finished watching the season, so it was all very, very fresh. And
okay.
obviously, I know it happened because I lived it, but when you watch it back like that, it kind of reopens the wounds a little bit. So I was definitely feeling a little bit raw. I mean, luckily, I had my mom there, so she's such an
Mm,
incredible support system for me, and I was able to kind of talk with her, go through what I wanted to say, touch on the big key points. But it was definitely intense. I've said in some other interviews, like, it almost felt like I was going to confront my high school bullies. And, I know by no means am I a victim. Like, I want to make that very, very clear. But it was just something that the intensity was so high that I needed to make sure that I said all the things I needed to say, get the things off my chest. So walking onto the stage was definitely scary a little bit, intense, but overall, just kind of a really beautiful closing to what this whole journey has been.
I know Vanessa Lachey kept saying, "Do you feel like you have closure?" It's probably such a, dichotomy to think about of, do I
Yeah.
have closure with a man who was telling me things throughout the whole season, like love bombing me, but did you feel like he was kind of gaslighting you? Like rewatching the whole season back, did it feel like what you were getting was completely different than what you watched back?
Yeah, absolutely. Watching it back, I was right there with the rest of the audience, like, Madison, hello, read the room. I 100% when you see 30 minutes of what was over 2 months, compressed into that, you kind of can see things quite a bit more clearly. For me
Mm.
personally, I was definitely experiencing, I don't know if it was necessarily love bombing, but I would say breadcrumbing for sure, where it was kind of, I would get these moments of really intense connection and moments of reassurance and be like, okay, like we are in this. So then those moments that feel confusing weren't exactly in my head what they should have been. Excuse
Mhm.
me. Sorry. Jeez. Colorado dry air is getting me again. So yeah, those moments that should have felt a little bit more intense didn't feel as intense because I had all these other data points that made me think that this was something that was going to work. And those scary moments were just a symptom of this experiment being, abnormal.
So I have some sources inside, production, how that goes behind the scenes. They also just filmed in Columbus. And I wonder if this has anything to do with it. And I'd love to get your take on this because it always seems like the women are so much more serious about marriage than the men.
Mm.
I've heard that a lot of men are either found on Instagram or found on LinkedIn, and a lot of the women are applying. How serious did it feel, even in the pods
Mhm.
and watching back the reunion, like just seeing all the men joke? And I was just curious, like, did you feel like the men were really there for marriage?
It's a good question. It's really hard because I can't speak for other people, but what I can speak to is the entire time that we're in the pods and throughout the whole experiment, we are constantly being reminded this is for marriage. This is for marriage-minded people. You even see me say that in the fight in the kitchen. I'm like, this is for marriage-minded people. We all know what we're doing. Like it is said to you a bazillion times, when you're going through the casting process, there are so many opportunities for you to back out because they make it very,
Mhm.
very clear you are going to get married. So I think as far as for me, I absolutely felt the weight of it. It's like I've been looking for my person. I do want to get married. I want to have, that kind of happily ever after, if you will. And from what I could tell in the pods, it absolutely felt like the men were there for the right reasons. I wouldn't have gone all the way with Joe had I thought that there wasn't.
When did you start feeling like, I don't know about this? I don't know if I could trust this.
Mhm. Honestly, in hindsight, when I look back at it, the reveal, absolutely, just the way that I was
Yeah.
really coming forward with my whole heart and, like, I was trying to bring, like, that warmth and that energy from the pods, like, I really wanted him to feel me. I would say that was the first kind of moment that I was like, "Oh, this is, like, not aligning all of a sudden." And then as we progressed into Mexico, when we actually first got together, because what you don't see is we do the reveal,
Yes.
then we're apart for 2 days, and then we are rejoined actually in Mexico. So,
And
we
are you
got
flying together? Because I love, like, our show Behind the Headlines, we love, like, know what really is going down. Like, are you flying together? Do you have that time? Or is it you pretty much are only together while we see you on camera because that's the
yeah,
way the
no.
producers want it?
Exactly, it's only on camera. So the
Wow.
women fly separately from the men. I think we actually flew LA to Houston to Baja, and then the men flew directly from LA to Baja. So yeah, very, very disconjoined. So, when we first got together in Mexico, like I'm all excited to see him. He gets out of the car. I'm already standing there waiting. He's like saying hey to all the crew, talking to everybody, and I'm like, hi. And he's like, oh hey. Like literally didn't even like he's like, I didn't even recognize you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that like, looking back now, it's probably so much easier, right? Hindsight 2020 to be like, "Okay, that was a bit of
Mhm.
a red flag," but as you said, you were there for marriage. As you're kind of watching those scenes back, I've heard you say in other interviews, there was 5 hours between me being at the party and him going to sleep, and, like, why is like, just certain moments that you're watching back now, are you like, "Wow, he really doesn't seem like he was in it by the time we went to Mexico?"
Absolutely, yeah, I watched certain parts back and I'm like, gosh, like, I truly was so blinded by the idea of love, and I was so idealizing him and our relationship and what this experiment could be. So, yeah, I mean, watching it back, there's definitely times that I'm like, "Why didn't you just call it at the reveal? Like, why didn't you honestly, why were you on the show to begin with?" is what I feel like, but, watching some of the scenes back, absolutely, I feel that sentiment.
You could tell, and we felt your weight. It's almost like you were the protagonist of this season that we were just like fighting for and rooting for, because I could feel your heartbreak, almost like a fuming energy at the reunion. And I mean this in a way that all of us would have been like that if we were you.
Oh.
What did you really want to make clear to him? Was it that why did you go through this process? Was it the Casey of it all? What was it?
Definitely not the Casey of it all. Like, I don't think that that was actually the reason that we ended. While I think that he owed it to me to have that loyalty, and his behavior around that was gross, and same for her. I think the thing that I really wanted to say is just, your words have weight, your actions have weight. I wanted the accountability from him quite a bit more than I got, and definitely more than what I got on the season. I think I'm a very emotionally intelligent person. I'm a big feeler. I really take things to heart, and it's frustrating for me when people don't have the same, at least willingness, to
Mhm.
understand that they affect other people and kind of go through life in this careless, whatever kind of way. And I really just wanted him to know, like, his actions and his words deeply affected me. And it's just, I hope for the future that he does better, truly. And at the end of the day, I wanted to
Mhm.
also let him know that, you know, I wish I could have been operating from a better place, because some of the things that
Mhm.
he said threw me into a very insecure place. So, we did actually get to talk on stage after the ice cream came out, and I kinda went up to him and, we chatted for a little bit, and I do feel like I got to kinda clear the air, at least from my end, so
You bring up some things of you said his comments about, and again, any woman being in this situation, it's like sometimes men don't, they're just ridiculous. But I'm not trying to put men down, but him making certain comments like, "Oh, I usually go for," and by the way, you're like so petite, so this is just a non-starter conversation. But saying certain things about anyone's body or, "Oh, what I was anticipating," you said, like, threw open doors
yeah.
for not only your own insecurities, which any of us would have, but for the internet. Talk to me about what that's been like.
Yeah, there's a few different things on that, I've had a lot of people coming at me being like, "He just wasn't into you." I actually had a comment yesterday, this was pretty hurtful. Somebody said, "Your relationship didn't work out because you're a fatty and didn't hit the gym." And I had obviously that, whatever, like, screw you, like, that is what that is, but
100.
it blows the door open because, sure, people are already going to comment, but now it became a part of my storyline where people feel like they have the right to then comment further on it. The way that it's affected other people, I mean, I've had so many women messaging me saying, "If you're big, what am I?" And saying, like, "I just, I thought you were so beautiful. Like, I was so excited to see my body type on the show, and then to hear the things that he said has made me really question things." And so it's frustrating for me because I feel like I'm having to do damage control of the damage that he caused. And, of course, I'm going to do that with open arms because I think that as women, we need that support. And anybody struggling with body dysmorphia or any kind of, just body issues in general needs to hear that they are worthy and beautiful and so much more than their body.
That's an interesting point, that you're the one who almost has to be the one talking about this,
Yeah.
doing his damage control. And not that you're trying to defend him, but you're trying to also encourage other women. I think this was a huge wake up call. Did you feel like that was understood by the other party?
Like by Joe?
Mhm.
Um, I can't speak for him. We've talked a few times now, and he has apologized to me a number of times. I mean, he apologized on the reunion. We have talked twice now, just kind of at events, and he has apologized. But I don't know. It doesn't. At this point, his words no longer carry weight with me. So unfortunately, that goes for the apologies as well.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you've kind of freed yourself from that. Obviously, you've done a lot of self work throughout this process because I think you're going to continue to be such a light. Like, if there's anyone that people should be following from the show, I think you're one of the top
Aw.
women for sure. Um, I want to talk about, I think the intent going into the show really defines how people have been playing out the rest of their journey. And your intent was unlike anyone else who had been on the show. Can you explain why being on the show was so important to you for the actual experience and, the diagnosis that you received as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So, obviously I've watched Love is Blind, I've known what it is, and I've always thought it was just so incredible because I have retinitis pigmentosa, which is a degenerative disease where I'm losing my eyesight at a pretty rapid pace. So, what the experiment meant for me is that I would be able to kind of experience what my life could be like if I were to lose my vision. And that's what the pods portion was so important for me to see is like, okay, I can't see you, I can hear you, and that simulates what my life would be like. So, yeah, I mean, there was definitely so much more kind of weight on it, just outside of the fact of I want to find my person, this is incredible experience, but it's definitely I had a much deeper why than I think, some cast members have had in the past.
And knowing that, but also kind of balancing, you're in season 9, you know there's probably a twofold where people want to find marriage, they want to find their love, but they know that this is a massive platform. A lot of people end up with millions of followers from this. How were you able to gauge just those pod relationships and afterwards?
Ooh. Like how was I able to kind of figure out like who was the right person for me?
Yeah, like and especially with your diagnosis of like were there qualities you were looking for that maybe the other women weren't thinking about at least at the forefront?
Absolutely. Something that was really huge for me is I really needed somebody that was highly empathetic, um, which is funny for what I what I ended
I
up with.
know.
Um, but
Oh.
I know. I wanted somebody that was highly empathetic. With a diagnosis like this, it takes a certain kind of person that can really lean in and not only care for that, but not let it define me through their eyes, right? So that's something that I was really looking for is just somebody that can be open to understanding, somebody that's just empathetic, somebody that is patient, because there are moments that it's like I cannot see and I feel like an internal panic and I kind of need a partner that can be that kind of grounding energy. So, grounding energy was also something I was really looking for.
Grounding energy, that makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of women say, like, even just like a safe space. I was
Uh-huh.
surprised because usually, when I was dating in my 20s, I'm like mid 30s now, I was always like, oh, I love the life of the party. And my husband is now like someone I'm very attracted to, but like a safe space. When you got home from the pool party, were you just completely blindsided because it no longer felt like this is a safe space with like how he was so disoriented, how he was reacting to speaking with you? At what point did you feel like I no longer feel safe? I no longer feel grounded in this situation?
Yeah. Um, it's a good question. I mean, I understand that we were all drinking and having fun, but I think that there's a level to which you carry yourself, especially in this kind of situation. And it really showed what his priorities were, and it definitely wasn't me. Um, I guess, the moment that I felt I wouldn't say unsafe. I never felt unsafe with him. Like, I don't want that to be like a thing, but I think the moment that I felt kind of like, what the hell, is when
Okay.
I'm like, touching his back and he's, like, saying all this weird shit, which, by the way, that conversation was much longer than what was shown. The disorientation was actually happening for a good, probably solid 5 minutes, where I'm like, "Wait," I'm literally looking around at production, like, "Do we need to do something here?" Um, so, I think in that moment, yeah, I definitely felt a little bit like not an unsafe space, but just kind of like you said, where you don't feel like this is a safe and cozy. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a certain kind of feeling.
It's jarring. It's
Yeah,
jarring.
sorry. Yeah,
But I also wonder if maybe this started when you started to see, oh, he's paying a lot more attention to everyone else. Was that the turning point for you in your head of this person might have gone into this for the right reasons, but maybe they're not staying for the right reasons?
absolutely, absolutely. When he started just completely being a frat boy with Jordan and just I mean, just shots to the dome, like, it was just insane, like, I felt like I was at a frat party, you know? So I'd say, yeah, that was definitely the moment that I kind of was like, "God, this, like, doesn't feel very good," you know? Like, I'm a really, like, bubbly, kind, excited, outgoing person, and, like, when I'm feeling that kind of insecurity or that kind of, like, off-kilter feeling, it's really hard to be myself, and that's how it felt in that moment, you know? I was kind of like, "I'm trying to connect with you, I'm, like, trying to make this work, but I feel like I'm getting nothing in return."
Yeah, and why I was even laughing was because I wrote down frat boy energy.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like. Even going into the reunion, a lot of the women felt just so, like, giving and just so themselves, and I'll
yeah,
say the 2 energies I felt like I got from the men were either very media trained, very PR. Nick and even Patrick, I'll say, like, their answers you could just tell were very media trained, yet the other side of the coin was the frat boys,
yeah,
and I wanna know, because me watching, hearing you just be so, like, genuine and really want answers, and watching, I really liked watching even Jordan on the show throughout the show, but watching them laugh and goof off while you're trying to really confront real issues,
yeah.
how did that make you feel? Because as a viewer, it made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very dismissive. I think that's the best way to put it. It is very dismissive. It makes light of something that shouldn't be made light of. I think that there's a way to handle things with a lighthearted levity and also understand that there's a time and a place for that. Like we're a year and a half out. Like I'm over that shit, but it's also like
Yeah.
there is something that needs to be honored about what we did together and what this experiment stands for as a whole. So yeah, I mean, seeing the frat boy stuff, it's ridiculous. It's not funny. It's absolutely inappropriate. And good for them. They got a few laughs out of it, but it's like at the end of the day, I think it really showed character.
So I went to some of their Instagrams today and I noticed they're like making funny videos with each other. Do you think a lot of the guys they're kind of using this experience to turn this into something that is inevitable?
Um, I think that we all are in some ways, right? Like we all know we went on a reality show, right? Like it's not
Mhm.
like we're sitting here being like, "Oh, I went there 1000% for this." Like, of course there is some,
Um,
baseline knowledge of I'm going on a reality show, right? So,
sure.
I think that, a lot of the videos and stuff make sense to me because it's like
Mhm.
we're all getting made fun of. We're all getting a lot of hate in a lot of different ways, and I think that it can be an outlet to kind of channel like, okay, I'm gonna make fun of this because that is kind of funny, like my mom and I joked around about her ick barometer in one of my TikToks. So it's kind of
Nice.
a way,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, to kind of like make light of it. Uh, it doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting because 'cause you're probably balancing this new world, but yet, like, still have your job. Like, are you back in Denver now? Tell me the dichotomy of balancing those 2 worlds right now, and also just all the online voices that are now commenting on your very personal life.
It's been crazy. Honestly, it has been so crazy. I am back in Denver. I am working. Balancing the 2 has been a lot. Luckily I work for a company that I've been with for 5 years and I have really good work relationships with them. So they understand when I'm like a little bit removed or I'm like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Like give me a little bit of patience here." I'm hitting my deadlines, of course, but there's definitely it's hard, being a real person and then all of a sudden having this kind of exposure. There's moments that have felt um very isolating because while there's so many voices, there's not a guidebook on this, right? Like, there's not who do you talk to about, "Hey, how do I handle, like, 50,000 comments saying this thing about me?" And also, how do I handle, people coming to me with, retinitis pigmentosa or other eye conditions? Or how do I handle women coming to me talking about their bodies? I think what I've really been doing is tapping into the way that I've done this whole experience, and that's just radical transparency. And I'm really just leaning into that. Like I've done that this whole time. Why stop now? And I think that's what resonates with people, when you're just authentic and genuine and real, as messy as that may be, people really see that and they resonate with it. So I've just been leaning into that and also just trying to have fun with it. And it's been crazy on social media. Just I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I used to be private. I mean, I was a private
Oh,
account
wow.
ever. So this is definitely, incredible. Overall, really incredible.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially when, like you said, you're seeking radical transparency. You've represented yourself really well on the show. Do you and the other girls kind of chat about, okay, how are you handling this? Like, are you leaning on each other? Is there therapy beyond like that Netflix provides? What does that look like for a contestant and for anyone else who might be wanting to come on the show who's listening?
Yeah, so production did pay for some therapy, which you could use the sessions like before or after reunion. I used them right when I came off the show, and you can always request more. But I've had the same therapist now for a year and a half, so at this point, I'm like, it's fine. I've been with her for a while. As far as like leaning on each other, yeah, I have some of my best friends from the show, and so
Mm.
that's definitely been a huge support system. It's kind of like, "Hey, did you see this?" Or like, "Are you doing that?" Kind of bouncing ideas off each other, which has been really helpful. Um, and then what was your other part of that question?
Yeah, just like are you guys kind of leaning on each other and getting through this together
Mhm.
because it does seem like it could be a very isolating time. And what is your family thought about all of this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, my family is just they're so, so supportive. Like, we had the best time. We were in Cabo 2 weeks ago, and literally we're just laying on the beach, and like people would walk up and be like, "Hey, are you Madison from Love is Blind?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And then like they're like, "Wait, you're her mom," because they saw her on the
Yeah.
show. And so it's been really sweet. Like my mom and my sister both have just been having a lot of fun with it. My sister's new evening routine is when she has a glass of wine and has put the babies to bed to go and troll the trolls. Like, it's so funny. Found her own new hobby in this. I think it's hard for
Oh.
them, seeing people comment on not just me, but like my friends and also them. So I think that they feel a level of protectiveness, but they also understand that it's like those voices don't matter. Like the voices that matter are the ones close to us. So they've
Hmm.
just been ecstatic for me and really supportive. And yeah, I mean, I just love them so much.
Would you be open to going on another reality dating show at all?
I absolutely would. Like, truly, even
Really?
oh my yeah, everyone's always surprised by that. Like, through all the heartbreak in this, the self-growth has been invaluable. Like, I can't even explain to you, like, the Madison that went into the pods and the Madison now are, like, 80 years apart of each other.
Tell
Like,
me, tell me why, because that was one of my questions. Like looking at the Madison back then, how are
yeah.
you guys different?
I think that the Madison then really was seeking validation, was really seeking, somebody to choose her, somebody to love her. And I was really getting a lot of my worth from external sources. And I sit here now with a lot of confidence in who I am. I know exactly what my character is. I now know like what my pillars are as a person. I know what I want, what I don't want. There's just so much more confidence in me now that is unshakable, and I think at that time, I
Mhm.
was definitely a little bit more shakeable, a little bit more naive, a little bit more, just wanting to be loved, and I realized that I can give myself that love now.
Oh, I love that. What are your non-negotiables now that you're like, "I won't even this is a red flag if I see this?"
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so I actually just got back on Hinge yesterday,
Oh, I
and
was gonna say, are you single and ready to mingle?
I am ready to
Breaking news,
mingle.
breaking news.
Breaking news! Yes, I'm back on the streets, ladies and gents. Send me your recommendations. Send your brothers, your I don't know, dads.
Oh
I
my
don't.
gosh, I do have some friends in Denver. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So what are
yeah.
we looking for? What are we looking for?
Well, okay, so the non-negotiables are definitely like immaturity. Any sign of frat boy energy, I'm out. Um,
You
learn
had
how.
just like the pinnacle of that, and you're like, "Okay, that is enough of that."
Yeah, exactly. And also, really kind of also going back to what I've learned about myself, leaning into my intuition. Like, there were so many times on the
Mhm.
show that I felt something and I just didn't listen to it. And so now, like, when
Mm.
I get that gut instinct, it's like, no questions asked, goodbye, good night. Like, even just like looking at profiles, like, if I'm reading something, I'm like, oh, I don't know, he could be good. And I like feel a tinge of like, no, I'm just like, nope, that's it. So, definitely immaturity, anybody that's just not kind. I mean, I think people,
Mhm.
the jokes that they make really speak for their character, so finding out what people find funny is very helpful. But what I am looking for is, yeah, just somebody that's kind, ambitious, bubbly,
Mm.
has like a lust for life that just wants to like absolutely do all the things. Patient, grounding, what else? I mean, thick
Now
thighs
this will
don't
be
hurt.
interesting, Madison, because I'm guessing you're not leading with was on Love Is Blind Netflix on your Hinge profile. Or
I'm not
maybe you are.
leading with
Okay.
well, I'm not leading with it, but I do have, like, pictures, like, of because like, one of the prompts was what I'm known for, and I was like, "That's kinda fun." Like, that's kinda like a fun way to, like, throw that in there. So it's, like, what I'm known for, and then it's,
Yeah.
like, a picture of me, like, under the Love Is Blind sign, and people have, like, messaged and they're like, "Wait, were you actually on it?" I'm like, "Yeah, anyways," So it's not that I'm
Yeah.
going too much into it, but
Now, are you someone who will Google your people you're gonna go on a date with? Because now they could find out a lot of information about you before you go on a first date. Are you
yeah.
someone who's gonna, like, do that work too on them?
Gosh, honestly, I haven't even thought about that aspect, like, the fact that people can just Google me and, like, find out like, really, I had not thought
Yes.
about that because I just got
Well,
back on Hinge literally yesterday.
yeah, why I say this is because I was a TV news reporter. So, and
Ah,
now we have our own show on YouTube, but them knowing I'm, like, on CBS every day, like, that was
yeah.
scary.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good point. See, this is, like, things that I never think about, like, I'm a normal ass person trying to figure this out.
Yeah, yeah. So if they get to know all that about you, they get to watch a whole show about you. You should get that
I
ability
know.
about them,
That's a good
for sure.
point. Okay, maybe I need to be, like, asking for last names, like, immediately. Just because it doesn't
Honestly,
show it on there.
honestly, maybe. When I was dating my husband, we started during COVID and it was where like FaceTime dates were all the rage. I don't know
Yeah,
if people still do FaceTime dates anymore, but
honestly,
COVID, it was like, oh, we'll just do a
yeah.
quick FaceTime date. But I loved that because you got to be like, okay, no,
I
within a few
like
minutes.
that. I might
Mhm.
do something like that. Honestly, let's just go back to COVID dating and I'll just I'll just
It
FaceTime everybody.
It helps so much with
Yeah.
just, like, cutting out time. So,
Yeah.
I feel like you would be the perfect candidate for another show too because you are just real, like, you'll bring the drama, you'll bring the spice, but you have a big heart, so that really gives leading character energy.
Oh.
Coming from production myself, did you ever feel like you were kinda being seen as characters, like, okay, Annie is the one that's, like, a little cuckoo or, did you ever feel like you were characters? Talk to us about, like, the conversations of production behind the scenes.
That's a good question. I mean, as far as like characters, it's really hard because like people will come on our social medias and be like, she blah 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 blah. I'm like, you realize you're like on my excuse me, you're on my personal account. Like you realize like this isn't like a forum, like you're not on like a Reddit thread. Like I'm personally seeing this. You know what I mean? So I mean, yes, definitely feel like there's kind of characters. As far as production, there was never a time that I felt like that. Like, there was never a time just behind the scenes that, like, I felt like production was pushing a certain narrative for me. Like,
Mhm.
I actually still talk to my producer to this day. Like, he is an incredible person. And so I really trusted him. And there was never a time that I was like, I don't like how you're trying to frame this or something like that. It's like if there was a question I didn't want to answer, I wouldn't answer it. Like I would just sit there and, you know.
Yeah, like, and behind the scenes, it's not like they're forcing you to have certain conversations, but specific days they'd be like, "Oh, you can now chat about if you feel like talking about your family this day," right? Like, wouldn't they give you guys prompts or how did that work?
Oh, yeah. So every day was like different levels of kind of connection, right? So we did have something in the back of our journals with like questions that you could ask or like kind of conversation starters. So like I mean, I'm trying to think. One of the days was like intimacy day and I would go in the pods and I'm like, "It's day 3. Let's talk about sex, baby." So well, there'd be questions around not just sex, but like
Yeah.
actual just intimacy, like, are you a holding hands kind of person? Are you the kind of person that likes to snuggle? Do you like, whatever, like
Mhm,
things like that.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we did definitely have like kind of conversation prompts in the back of our book that would kind of start something. And then a lot of times we would just take over and, conversation would go wherever it went.
A lot of people don't realize you're spending, like, what, 10 plus hours in these pods, maybe longer. What
Yeah.
else behind the scenes? I had people ask, "Are they sleeping?" I'm like, "No, those are probably sound stages."
Yeah. No. So
Um
we don't stay there. We have our own
Mhm,
hotel rooms. We shuttle to and from set. I
mhm.
am so sorry. God.
Oh, you're fine.
So we shuttle to and from set, and then yeah, like we aren't allowed to talk about anything that's happening in the pods while we're like at the hotel or anything like that. Like everything's on ice until the cameras are on.
And you're completely isolated? Like, do you have your own hotel rooms then, or are you bunking with someone? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
own hotels. Mhm.
Yeah, but you didn't feel like they were like you were a puppet and they were, you hear that from Bachelor Nation a lot, like, "Ooh, they're playing." It sounds like a very, like, peaceful, fun environment.
I never ever felt manipulated. I never felt mistreated. Like, I personally, I loved having my own room. Like, after talking all day in the pods, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Give me some damn privacy," you know?
Yeah.
So, no, it was I mean, from my end, like, I have truly nothing but good things to say about production. Like, it was the most incredible experience. Every team I encountered was on it, was respectful, was kind. I mean, they went above and beyond to make sure you had what you needed too. So, yeah, from that standpoint, incredible.
I wanna kind of lastly talk about Madison because this season is known for that no one got married. Like, I had
I
people say, "Wait, did not a single one?" I'm like, "No." But also, I was really proud of a lot of you guys for not going down the altar because I feel like that's just so down the aisle, such a moment that then is taken away from you if you say no, right? So, is there anything that you can share with us of, are you guys encouraged to go down the aisle? Are you encouraged to make that decision at the altar? Why do you think this season was so different? Some people were speculating on some of our episodes. No, they used to get paid extra for going down the aisle and now they don't. I'm like, I don't know if that's how that works, but
Yeah, no, you're definitely not paid extra for going down the aisle. Um, no, that's not a thing. You're it's not even that you're encouraged to go to the altar. Like, it's really truly just kind of like you will know, like you're reminded, like you will know when you're standing in front of that person at the altar. So it's never like you got to get there, you got to get there. It's really everything is of your own volition.
yeah.
Um, I never felt that kind of pressure. I knew the process. And again, this is an experiment, right? So it's kind of like you've
Yeah.
gotta do the experiment the way the experiment is made. To your point, though, I am so thankful that I did not go because that was something I was very afraid of, is, like, that would have been robbed. Like, that I already feel like me being
Yeah.
engaged for the first time is a little bit robbed, you know? So, thank God I did not get to that point, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pray for you that your, next experience is just doesn't even feel that way, like completely washes away this whole, thing. And like you said, it was such a huge self-growth moment. I could so see you on Perfect Match, or are there any other dating shows that you're like, I could do that one?
Yes, like, I would do all the things, honestly. Let's see, I perfect match because I like that it's a little more lighthearted, it's a little
Mhm.
bit less intense, and I feel like right now I could use that.
Mhm.
Obviously, like, Bachelor, Bachelorette, I think that's just a classic, of course, like,
Yeah.
and then you're not having to deal with, other girl drama if you're the Bachelorette, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that would be fun, but honestly, I kinda wanna do, like, a 180, like, I'm kinda like, put me on, like, Traitors or, like, Survivor or, like, something, like, a little more where you get to see more of Madison and not just, like, my emotions.
Madison in Love. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
Madison, we have a quick rapid fire, but
Yeah.
before we do that, are there any other topics that you're like, man, I really didn't get to express myself fully on this, or this was
Mhm.
left on the cutting room floor that you think people deserve to know? I think they filmed in Columbus just this
Yeah.
past year, so I think that's the next stop.
Mhm.
So if anyone is watching this from Columbus, any words of wisdom for them?
Ooh, words of wisdom for them. I would say, just get really solid in who you are, get really
Yeah.
grounded in what you bring to the table, what you want, and just become immovable in that. And then make sure you're operating from that place. That's one thing that I wish I could have done a little bit better is stay in my confidence and stay grounded in myself. As far as things left on the cutting room floor, I don't know. It's so hard. I feel like I get such a mixed bag of like reactions and of things that people are saying about me that it's kind of like I don't really know what else to address, you know?
Yeah. And you
Um,
know what? Here's what I realized,
yeah.
because coming from the journalism side, I will get people all the time now that they're taking so many, like, take you have to take a strong stance in politics and it's easier for the algorithm to be left or right. I realize that no matter what I say, there's always going to be people like me trying to be so moderate and so no, I'm bringing both sides of the aisle to the table. There are always going to be people that hate you, and it's not even hating you. It's that they don't fully listen to the clips, they don't fully
Right.
hear what you're saying, and they don't want to. So I
Yeah.
feel like to your point, you are living in alignment. And if you
Yeah.
live in alignment with your purpose, then it is what it is. And you keep making those funny videos. Now I have to check out your videos.
Yes, okay, I love that you said that, Ashley, because that is 100%. I've been saying this to everybody, and, like, that is so true. Like, at first, you kind of feel like, "Oh, like, I'm getting pushback on this thing, like, do I need to address it?" And then, like, it does I've learned it does not matter who the hell I am. There are gonna be people that love me and people that do not like it, and it's like,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I like it, and at the end of the day, I'm having fun with it, and it is very hard. I know I'm so glad you understand that feeling
Yes.
because it truly is like you go left and then they want you to go right. So then you go right
Mhm.
and then that's not what they wanted. And so it's just like at the end of the day, like I am who I am. If you love it,
Yes.
great. Love you back. If not, go to a different profile?
Yes, and you know what some other, like, big people I talked to said? They said the more you lean into who you are and the alignment, the more you're just gonna continue to attract those types of people, and then the
Yes.
others will kind of, like, fade away. But,
Yes.
yeah, I would start to be like, "Oh, let me try to, like, lean more this way," or something, and then it would
Mhm.
still piss those people off and now piss off other people, so I
Yeah.
you just can't make everyone happy, but that's okay as long as you're okay with who like, is going you're looking in the mirror, washing your face, being like, "Okay, I like the person who's
Yeah.
looking back at me."
Oh,
And
I
I
sleep great at night.
I love that. As you should. I really see you going really far because of your
Oh,
heart. I love
thank you.
um other people who stood out to me were like Calabria seems like she has a really great heart. Kate, Megan, like the girls on the couch. And again, not to put anyone else down, but people who really stand out that are in alignment, you can feel that energy. And I'm really proud for you guys. Okay, so let's spice it up before you head out.
Okay,
Rapid
well, I have a
fire.
question. I have a question before the rapid fire. Okay, you said, like, the characters. I'm so curious. What character do you think that I kind of, like, from a production standpoint, took
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. I was watching this because I my husband goes, "Why do you keep talking? Like, we have the whole, like, goblets and stuff. I, like, love the show." And he goes, "Why do you keep pausing and talking about each one?" I go, "'Cause they're characters." And he goes, "Ashley, they are people." But because I worked in Hollywood for over a decade, I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, but producers are seeing them as characters."
Yes.
So, I think again, I have grace with everyone, know that I'm saying this out of a place of love. I
Of course.
think, um because certain scenes, not for you, but certain scenes I'm thinking of for like Annie, because you could tell probably from Nights Out that the wild hair and wild crazy eyes, like she's gonna be seen as like the crazy one, right? Megan's gonna be seen as people are saying like rich versus poor. Oh, she's the rich
Mhm.
gal who doesn't. And like, okay, all these by the way characters are like there's no nuance to it.
Right.
Joe is definitely bratty, the frat boy.
Mhm.
Jordan was seen as like the sweet dad, but I
Uh-huh.
will say my feelings on that changed just from the reaction of the and I really love everything that he's doing for kids with diabetes and his book Dear Luca, but just from the reaction of him and Joe on the reunion, I'm like this is all too fratty for me. You I think are you and kind of like Kate, you're our girls. Like you are our, like, hero feminine you and also Calabria, but I
Yeah.
think you, because of your intention for going on the show, people will really respond well to that. That's why I see you as, like, main character energy,
Oh,
and
thank
this
you.
sounds like I'm probably just trying to, like, butter you up, but
No, I'm so curious because I see all of it. So it's like I see the good and the bad where I'm like,
yeah.
I can't really get a good bird's eye view on it.
Yeah, and the reason why it's good that you show some, like, moments where you're like, "Oh, I probably didn't look the best in that," that's fine.
Uh-huh.
Because if we didn't see that, you would look too polished. Nick just, like, needs to go home for me. Like, his fucking media trained, like, answers, "I'm sorry, get off the stage." Like, let me just acknowledge the love bombing. I'm like, "No, please stop talking." Like,
That's so funny.
and it's only because I can see through it, right? And
Sure.
everyone else if I can, then everyone else can too.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to be, like, a little, like, rough around the edges at times, keep being transparent. If you do go on another show, don't be too polished. Like,
Yeah.
try to be exactly who you are
Yeah.
because your instincts are right, but don't try to, like, make a mockery of things like Joe and, Jordan really felt like they were making a mockery of it and played too much into it, which sure got the laughs initially. They'll get a little following from that, whatever. but that's not like a main character energy I want to
Understandable.
follow. I could
Yeah.
see like maybe one of them going on another show because they're that fratty energy. But in
Yeah.
terms of brands like Rare Beauty, or I'm thinking of like all my like brands that want to stand by really strong women, they're going to want to represent you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That means so much. It really does. I mean, I appreciate that insight because it's just like it is hard for me to tell really what the general like consensus is,
Yeah.
like we'll have to chat. I'm like, hey, chat, like what is the general vibe here? And people have definitely
Yes.
said they respond to my vulnerability, to
Mhm.
just my authenticity. I mean, obviously I'm doing a ton of work with the Foundation Fighting Blindness for low vision stuff,
Oh,
so lots of advocacy there, but it's
yes.
good to know kind of from a bird's eye view. Okay, we can rapid fire now. I just
Yes,
had to.
and also just keep in mind there's always going to be people who will say certain things and just like they're not comfortable with who they are. I
Yeah.
also feel like I was just on someone's podcast and they asked me, they said, "What do you want to be known for?" And I used to say, "Oh, kindness and everything." And I was like, "You know what? I really like," because they were like, "We like how candid you are. You just say the things." And I'm like, "You know what? I think that's what I'm most proud of right now in my life, is just like the person who's not afraid to speak truth." And I think that's
Yes.
a part of who you are. And obviously, we want to do that with kindness. So, yeah,
Yes. Love that. I
keep
love
being
that.
you because I think it'll go really far because it's very magnetic on camera and
Thank
like
you.
in television. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
rapid fire.
okay.
Who from the season would you trust to set you up on a blind date?
Oh God. Probably Anna, honestly. Probably Anna.
Oh, she seemed so wise. Okay, if you could redo one outfit from the show, which would it be?
Oh my gosh, the fact that they put me as my first scene in the pods in my pajamas with, like, my glasses, and I'm like, okay, although people have really loved it, but I think I would definitely
Relatable.
do that. There was a deleted scene where I was wearing this, like, blue vest thing with, like, a pink cargo skirt, and I wanna make it very clear, I sent production, like, 8 outfit options that morning, and they picked that one. So, I
Oh, so
would've
they pick your outfits.
well, only certain times. So, like,
Okay.
for that one particular, because that was when we were meeting up in Mexico, they were like, Show us, like, 4 or 5 options," and then, like, our handler, like, sent photos to production of, like, which ones, and I was like, "Really? Like, this is the one you guys want me in? Okay."
And just so viewers know, don't you guys only have like a week from being told that you're going to be on the show to actually filming?
Yeah, so I think it was 2 weeks. I found out 2 weeks to prior.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's literally like you're trying to order stuff. Half the stuff you order doesn't get here in time. You're trying to, like,
Yeah.
mesh outfits together. Yeah, it's intense.
That's wild. That would be like my most stressed out state. What's one ick you discovered after dating after Love is Blind? Well,
Ooh. Well, I mean, we kinda touched on it, right? I mean, definitely, like, the frat boy energy. I mean, I think it's always been an ick, but yeah, I'd say that. Also, I'd say sleep talking. That's now an ick as well.
who's who in the cast gives the best advice? Do you think Anna?
Um, I would say Anna or Kate. I mean, they're
Mm.
obviously, like, my best friends, but yeah, I would say Anna or Kate.
Who's most likely to end up married next?
Ooh, most likely to end up married next. Well, maybe Megan because she has a baby.
Mhm.
Um, Annie has a really great boyfriend. I love him, so maybe them.
Nice. I didn't know it, like, because they put some of you guys on a couch down here and some of
Yeah.
you guys up here. It's like, what? Who's friends?
I'm
Okay.
really good friends with Annie, Kate, Anna, and then, like, KB and I, like, I mean, we're friendly, but, like, she doesn't live here, so I haven't gotten to, like, really hang out with her,
Oh,
and
that's right.
yeah. Yeah, so those are my main girls, and then there's definitely a few girls that, like, you don't get to see on screen that we're just pod squad that I'm good friends with as well.
Man, how sad that they must be that they couldn't like do the whole thing too. What's your current comfort show?
Ooh, my current comfort show has been Dancing with the Stars. I've never
Oh,
watched it before, like, I knew what it was,
yes,
and then I saw
same.
Robert Irwin on it, and I was like, "I need to watch this," and then I saw, like, Whitney and, like, the, Mormon
More wives.
Housewives. Yeah, so my comfort show has definitely been that. My other comfort show is Nobody Wants This.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Adam Brody. Yes, so
Yes.
good. Kristen
Yeah.
Bell.
Yep.
Who was your Love is Blind crush that viewers never saw?
Ooh, that's a really good one. So people don't know this. I actually went to proposal day with 2 people. So I had like a whole ass journey in the plot that we did not see. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
So
who is that person? Do we get to know?
yeah, his name's Jensen. Nobody knows him. I mean, it was literally like we went all the way, and actually on proposal day, I had a little bit of a panic attack and I was like, "Wait, I thought it was Joe. Like, what if I'm messing up? Maybe it's Jensen." And like I had to have a sit down with my producer and be like,
Yeah.
"What do you think?" He's like, "Just go with your heart. Go with your heart, you know?" And I was like, "Okay." So then I go in to talk to Jensen, and thank God we were on the same page, like, we both had a stronger connection, like, we both were like, "You know what, I think you're incredible, like, I'll see you on the flip side." We just had stronger connections outside of each other, but yeah, I had a whole other relationship.
Wow. Do you have any interest in reconnecting with Jensen or no?
We're friends, he's a
Okay.
great guy, but at this point, I'm not touching anybody in the pod squad with a
Okay.
10-foot pole in that way.
With a 10-foot pole. If you could describe your whole experience in one word, what would it be?
Transformative. I would say this whole thing has been so transformative. I mean, high highs, low lows, but
Mhm.
it has been such incredible growth and just like I feel like I have so much clarity. There's been so many incredible full circle moments just in my life that have kind of come to a close with this coming to a close, and yeah, it feels incredible.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you. And I could definitely see you on another show, Madison. But even if you don't end up on another show, like you're gonna find the love of your life. And it seems like, in the right timing, right? It seems like you're thriving right now. You're in such a good headspace. She's
Yeah.
on Hinge, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the Denver area.
I sure am.
You better send her your last name though.
Yes, yes, I'm gonna be doing some Googling now that you can
Yes.
Google me. So weird.
It is weird. That's why I'm like, you need just as much information as they're gonna
Right.
get.
I
So
didn't even think about I mean, literally,
yeah,
like, I haven't been on the apps in over a year and a half,
yeah.
so, like, this is, like, crazy for me to, like, be back on the apps now.
Yeah, yeah. If they are gonna know that you're on Love Is Blind, just think of everything that they're gonna do before or that they could do.
That's such a good point. Okay, good call.
So, yep.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, Madison. And where can people find you on all the socials and follow you and support you?
Yes, you can find me at Madison VM on TikTok and Instagram, and thank you guys so much for having me. This was so fun.
Yay. Thanks, Madison.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and if you want to catch up on more episodes of Behind the Headlines, check out this playlist here. I will see you in the next one.